Yo, it's AJ Banjo. I'm your host of the Grind and Ghost Podcast, a podcast for artists and creatives to come through and talk openly and freely about all things in the industry and all things creative. Yo, everyone, welcome back to the second episode of the Grind and Ghost Podcast. I'm your host, AJ Banjo, and joining me today is a special guest. A guy that I've looked up to, honestly, in this music industry business. I caught him at the Ultimate Music Seminar last year where he was speaking, dropping some gems. And luckily enough, we have him in studio today, the one and only Lloyd Murray.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Bless. Thank you for coming through today. You're someone that I know loves to, really reach out and help a lot of young people when it comes to gaining an understanding of the music industry.
Yeah.
As, an A&R manager, you've been able to work with a lot of very big artists and be on a platform that a lot of people aspire to be on. So I appreciate you coming through. I appreciate the gems that I know are going to be dropped in this episode, honestly. But yeah, how you been, man?
I'm alright, bro. I'm okay. A little bit tired, but I'm well rested now. I'm alive. Sometimes you have to give God thanks. And that's it, man. We're here.
Bless. To start things off, I really want to... This is something that I'm just personally curious about, is your journey in the music industry. What were the kind of first steps that you took to set yourself up?
I don't know. I'll try and condense it. I'll try and give you a timeline. I've kind of done a few talks, so I have a timeline in my head.
Yeah.
But I feel like it started... There was always music in the house in general. And then I think you grow up loving music. My parents are Jamaican. We heard everything from Lovers Rock to R&B. Also, I'm the youngest of four, so I kind of had everyone's input. Like, my brothers listened to Snoop Dogg, sisters are listening to SWV, Tevin Campbell, all of that. And then fast forward, you start learning, you start getting your own taste. I think around 12 years old, I was in Tesco and I forced my mum to buy an Eminem CD, and I told her there was no swearing. And obviously Eminem swearing on every track.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I think I just started to develop a love for garage, which was going into grime. Love is So Solid. Begged my dad to buy me decks for one birthday. Tried to DJ. Then I wanted to rap because I like Usher D. I feel like most youngsters go through the phase of trying to rap. And then I started trying to produce as well because I could play keyboard. I had long fingers and I was playing keyboard, but that was a bit long. So I did music as a GCSE, and then I left school at 16 and I went to East Surrey College in Red Hill, and I had to do business studies for 1 year because I only got 4 A to C GCSEs. So I was like, shit, man, I can't do level 3. I got to do level 2. Did business studies, then moved to level 3 music tech. So everyone in business studies was like, what? Why you not doing business studies level 3? I'm like, nah, I'm really on this music thing.
Yeah.
So I go to music tech and liking some of the lessons, not liking all of them. But I had read a Simon Cowell book. Sorry, pardon me. I read a Simon Cowell book, and I discovered the words A&R. And I was like, oh, there's a job at a label. You could get paid to do this. So I said to my teacher, I don't even want to come to the certain classes like how to run the studio because I want to be A&R. Yeah. And he was like, no, that's how you know someone pulls a rubbish mix over your ears and learn how to do things. So I was like, cool. Fast forward, got into university. I got into uni at 19, so this is 2007, and I studied music industry management and artist development. So that was at Bucks Uni in High Wycombe. And I had a teacher there called Richard Chamberlain. He worked in the industry, briefly, and he was like, look, you're not at uni. This is the first day of the industry. Network, make contacts, just keep going, really. And, I just kept, relentlessly pursuing this thing called A&R. So after the first year, and we're all going back home. High Wycombe's a town just out of London, near not far from Uxbridge or Aylesbury, whatever it be. And I'm just like, I need to do something with my time. So everyone's getting a part-time job, and I'm like, no, I want to get an internship. Yeah. So I get an internship with 2NV, two guys called Paul Bodie and Chris Nathaniel. they were managing T2. So you remember that song, Heartbroken? Yeah, they were managing him. So they're the only people I know in the industry. And I just called them every week until they picked up.
Yeah.
And Paul Bodie was like, cool, come here. We'll give you half your travel card. No lunch. Like, you have to pay your own lunch.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Half my travel card, it's a shot in the door, innit? I'm going to do it. So I started doing it and then had 3 months of that. Went back to second year of uni. Focused. After second year uni, we're back to summer again. So I'm like, I'm looking at this internship, and now we're coming up to like 2008, 2009. UK rap, the first wave is starting to come through. Like Chipmunk's been signed, Tinchy Strider's been signed, and I was looking at Bashi. I thought Bashi was gonna get signed, so I contacted his managers. I'm like, yo, can I do internship? They're like, yeah, come through. And I went to this place, which is now known as F Block, but it was a building in Ealing, similar to this building we're in now. It's just loads of different studios, different people, and that changed my life because I met a guy called Naughty Boy, the producers Mojam, Emily Sande was in there. Then I met an A&R called Glenn Akins. I already knew Ben Scar, but Ben Scar was coming there. So just being in this building, even though the office someone is on the second floor, and it's a management office, at any moment you're walking in and out and you'll just see whoever from the industry there. So left there, finished third year, focus, had to do my dissertation, left uni 2010. And I remember my mum saying to me, like, what are you going to do now? I said, I'm going to get a job in industry. And she was like, that's nice. You need to go sign on. And the job said, and I was like, yeah, I should as well. But just kept trying. And it was tough, man. I remember talking to my friend Chris. He got a first class degree in music industry management as well. And I got a 2-2. And we were like, we can't even get an internship. Like, it's demoralizing because you're going to interviews and you want to work for free and you're not even getting that. But you realize you're one of 500 that have applied for that internship. So, yeah, kept going. January 2011, got a lucky phone call from HR. The lady liked me. This is Warner HR. And she just said, look, there's an internship space in a brand partnership team. You're the only person I'd put forward for it. They just need someone for 3 months. So I just said yes. So I got in. I'm in this role. I'm working with like people that do merchandise or the artist website. Brand partnerships was a new thing. And I was just running to the third floor where the A&Rs were and just networking. Left there after 3 months. Had a couple months with 679 Records. So they did Kano and Plan B. Left there. And then I got to, where did I get to? I think 2012, I was just working part-time jobs and my cousin said, oh, there's a girl I work with at Direct Line. She's going to work at PPL. And PPL is like this music company. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to apply. But it weren't nothing sexy. It was like talking to pubs and clubs. They need licenses to play music. And I'm doing that. I set up 88 Entertainment, which is my own management company. I'm trying to manage this girl called Emma Black. You guys won't know of her, but just try to make some things happen. And in September 2013, I got an internship at Columbia Records. So I'm like, yeah, this is my first A&R internship. Like, I'm in the A&R team for 3 months. That ended kind of harshly, and there was no job at the end of it. So I was gutted. So I think I even shed a tear. I was like, nah, man, I'm not doing this no more. I'm not doing no more internships. Like, this is long. And then January 2014, I'm like, cool. If I can't, like, I think at this age, I'm 25 or something like that. So I'm like, internships, I can't do it. Like, it's not paying me. Do you know what I mean? So I've met a girl called Gina Kushkar, got her a publishing deal very quickly. So I'm like, cool, my first deal, made 20%. I'm feeling good. I'm still working part-time. And then, I don't know, like, kind of fast forward 2 years, she ended up sacking me. I was with a producer as well called Jay Weathers. So he made Notes, my lover. But he made that song after I stopped managing him. So I was just like, wow, like, I've got no clients, nothing's going on. This is peak. But I'm still at PPL. So I'm doing the PPL Monday to Tuesday. I think I then went Monday to Wednesday. I'm just doing that 9 to 5 in the office. No one has to see me. Thursday or Friday, I'm using to do my meetings. And then I met Crazy Cousins. And Crazy Cousins got introduced to me by a girl called Lydia McKenzie. She made a song with him and she was like, I think this song's sick, but he's not pushing it. I don't know what to do. I'm like, let me send it to a few A&Rs I know. if any of them bites, I would have been involved. And big up Sharav De Silva, he had his label Two Tone N at Warner at the time, and he's gonna sign the song. So I've gone to both of them like, I got you lot a deal. I need my 20%, but I'm like, who do I manage? Like both of them are unmanaged. They made a 6 song, now a label signing it. So I'm like, cool. So I weighed it up, and Lily's my friend, Luke's my friend, and I met Luke, who's Crazy Cousins, and I'm like, let me go with him. I'm gonna try a thing with him. And luckily, I was in Sony, and I happened to see Shabs, the owner of Relentless Records. I had met him a year before, had a bit of small talk, and he was like, what are you up to? And I was like, oh, just done a deal for Crazy Cousins at Warner. He's like, let me hear the song. I'm like, you can hear the song, but the deal's done. Like, I'm not gonna go back on my word. And when I got home later that day, he emailed me saying, let's talk about you working as an A&R in Relentless. So I'm gassed. So I'm like, this is my shot. This is a shot I've been waiting for. And in 2017, I joined Relentless Records part-time, doing 2 days a week. And then in 2018, I went full-time as an A&R manager because Adele White left to go Island. And then I got the full-time position. So I had to work with Notes, Nadia Rose, Pro Green, plus do my own signings. And yeah, I've kind of been an A&R full-time ever since. So I guess I became an A&R at 29, and I've just turned 34. So yeah, small space of time, but basically that's the timeline of events that has led me to A&R and led me here. I guess if we go further, I left Relentless in 2019, started at Warner November 2019, and then that's where I am currently. So that brings everyone up to the present day. Yeah. That brings you up to the present day as well. It's long, but it's the timeline basically.
Now that's such an interesting story, and listening to that, it's crazy how you decided that an A&R is where you want to go at such an early age, like reading a Simon Cowell book and understanding that this is the path you want to take.
Yeah.
Because like myself, who's been in positions like working A&R like for independent labels, I only learnt about that role, I would say, quite recently in terms of, you know, the opportunities that could bring. And you know, I've been working as an independent manager, but for you to know that this is the position I want to be in the industry, and then to be focused and driving towards that, I think is one, really impressive, and it kind of just shows how the music industry, there's so many roles and there's so many avenues that you can take to make you don't have to just be, you know, the front of the guy.
Yeah.
You know?
I think there's a bit of luck as well, and a bit of like just a lot of people that meet, even some of my friends, they're like, oh, you're, you know, sick, like you knew what you wanted to do. Yeah. And there's friends that I've spoke to even in our 20s, they're like, yeah, like I'm 26, I'm still not sure, because sometimes it takes people a long time to find that thing. Like, what's that thing that's gonna wake them up in the morning? But I was just lucky that once I realised I couldn't make music, like, remember if you go back, I said I tried, like, I'm DJing, but I'm like, I got £10 a week pocket money, so I'm lucky. I feel like, I'm one of the lucky black kids. I had both my parents, I get £10 a week, but one vinyl was £7.
Yeah.
So I was going into Big Apple and Croydon, and they're like, 5 new vinyls come out this week. I'm like, I can only buy one, you know what I mean? Yeah. But DJing didn't move me. Rapping I liked, producing I couldn't do, and then I've just found there's this job that gets you close to the artist so you can get paid for it. Yeah. And then I think what kind of kept me going is when you start to meet people, and I have to say a few names, but like I remember Ben Scar, Julian Palmer's been a great mentor, Sharav's been a good mentor, Rich Costello's been a good mentor, people that are doing it, and they're like, you know what, like, you could do it, you know, you've got good ears and you understand things and you can find acts, and then you also realise, if I'm being honest, like what you could achieve in the job, you know what I mean? It's you're watching people have success. I remember watching my friend Sharav De Silva have a #1 with Sigma. She's like a drum and bass act, and you're like, wow, like I'm so happy for you, but then I see what that's done for you, do you know what I mean, as well? So it's like, if you could do it, I'm sure I could maybe do it. Yeah. And that's why I talk a lot to the youth, because I'm also like, if I could do it, you could do it. Do you know what I mean? So,
you know, I think that paying it forward to the younger generation is so important, because like someone who's in the industry starting off, I remember doing a mentorship at Sony, And that period was like such a great opportunity for me to understand that the work that I'm doing is worth it. And I remember ending that, doing a showcase with some of the artists I work with
Mm.
at Sony, and that was just such a huge moment for me to, like you said, kind of get that insight into the industry. I want to talk about like you as an A&R and how
Mm.
that role and position has changed, because you talk about you wanted it because it was an opportunity to get close to the artist in a
Yeah.
way, and that's something I think entices a lot of young people.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
yeah.
position of getting close to the artist. But I also know that that role has drastically changed, especially recently in the last few years, the way that labels look at the position of an A&R. So I just want to ask you, from when you first started to now,
Yeah.
how your position and your mindset to it as an A&R has changed.
Um, I think for me, the only thing that's changed is the metrics we use to judge
Yeah.
success. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So back in the day, I say back in the day, I remember managing and there was like this tool called Hype Machine, and like Hype Machine would give you a score based on how many blogs you had blog your track,
Yeah.
and you would be sending blogs your track on a SoundCloud link, and everyone would be like, "Oh my god, have you seen the SoundCloud? It's on 1 million plays." Da 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 da, and there'd be some A&R somewhere saying to their boss, "Look on SoundCloud, it's on 1 million plays," and that would
Yeah.
be some sort of measure of should we sign it, should we not, da 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 da. And then streaming came in, and then it started being he's on 1 million Spotify streams on his own, and she's done this on Spotify. And so I think what's happening is like the role of an A&R is always going to be needed. There's always going to be the need for someone at the label to be between the label and the artist and to be the glue. As an A&R, when you work at a record label, you are the person people in the other departments come to know what's going on with the music, to try and understand that particular artist's vision, and to understand how they should treat that artist or do the campaign or roll out the music, whatever it be. But then you've also got this other relationship outside the building where you are dealing with the artist and the manager, and you're saying, right, we've got to do things this way. Let me help you with the music. Let me help you with your live show. Let me help you. So you're kind of like the glue in the middle of that. And then you have to like hand it over at some point.
Yeah.
That's why being a manager is good, because as a manager, I get to see everything.
Yeah.
But I also like being an A&R as well because I don't have to deal with everything. Yeah, I mean, so when I sign an act, as a manager, their manager has to think everything about their act, like where they are today, where they got to be at the label, how they got to do press, how they got to do a live show later. I get the luxury of just saying, "Oh, he's doing wireless. Put me on the list, and I'll turn up." I don't have to worry about sound check, whatever that. But going back to the question, I think we're in a data driven world now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I don't think you could ignore that TikTok is the number one discovery platform for new music. I think social media is increasingly important. Have artists got engagement? Have they got reach? Have they got comments? And not to mean those things mean they're going to be successful, but it gives you an understanding of how that artist is liked or how they're talking to their audience, if they've even got an audience. Sometimes I've seen us people, we go, yeah, that's a wicked tune. And you're like, yeah, it is a wicked tune, but who is it a wicked tune for? Who is the people that are going to buy that song? Who's the people that's going to stream that song? So I think sometimes all that happens is there's still a need for someone to be an A&R and do A&R, but the way you judge success and you measure success is just constantly changing. And the way you find talent, the way you find acts, it's constantly changing. If you speak to A&Rs in the 90s, it was all about showcases. They'd have a manager like you or someone else go, yeah, I've got this girl group, come to the rehearsal studio, check them out. And you get someone go, yeah, they were wicked, I gave them a record deal. That's not going to happen now. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's just that the job of an A&R is still the same, but you're using different things and different tools and different metrics, I guess, to judge things, really.
Yeah.
That's it. But me personally, to go one further, I'm a bit of both. I think I'm someone that wants to look at data and I want to see how much video creations on TikTok, and I want to see what the streaming saying, and I want to see all those numbers, but I've also got to use my ears and my gut, because
Yeah.
sometimes the numbers can't tell you what you feel or what you
Yeah.
know. So I think it's a balance of seeing numbers but not being blindly led by just numbers, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because that could also end up going left. Okay, right.
No, that's facts, and it's something that I've kind of been looking more into. As like being a manager, you can kind of step away from that side of things, but taking on roles as an A&R, like my eyes have been open to also how labels are approaching signing artists and the things they're looking for. And you're right, TikTok being such a huge platform
Yeah, huge.
that has just taken over the music industry in such a huge way. I think it's interesting, like the role of an A&R has, like you said, it's been this fundamental thing to be a connector from the label to the artist. From the artist side of things, I think the dynamic in which they relate to a label, again, is such this changing wave. I wanted to ask your opinions on taking from what you know and working at such big labels, your thoughts on how the independent scene is able to kind of play a role in that. Because I know there's a lot of talk of how, you don't need a major label, like you do things on your own, but there is such an essential value in the push a major label can give you
Yeah.
versus the independence. I want to know like your thoughts on that, because you've seen both
Um,
roles.
do you know what? I think it's very simple. It's down to what you want to achieve as an artist. If you want to be big in Croydon, you don't need Warner Records to help you do that.
Yeah.
If you want to be big in London, you might not need Warner Records. I'd even go as far as to say if you want to be big in England, Wales, Scotland, France, Germany, Europe, you don't need a label to help you do that. And a good example is like Central C just went #1. He's independent. Storzy's first album was independent. Do you know what I mean? However, that's where I kind of draw the line, because I'm like, if you want to be global,
Yeah.
if you want to be internationally known all over the world, my friend, you're gonna need a label. And when I point to the biggest artists, Ed Sheeran, Adele, Drake, Dua Lipa,
Yeah.
we can keep going.
Yeah.
No one can ever tell me that the biggest artists in the world are doing it independently, because they're not, right? So what that leads to is that when I joined Warner, like when I was at Relentless, they're a bit of a smaller label and a big machine. So they have the power of Sony, but there's only one Relentless, which is in the UK, yeah? Warner Records, there's a Warner Records in every country.
Yeah.
Like standard in every country. There's Warner Music Group worldwide. So I've been there where those calls are happening and there's international marketing calls and everyone's going, right, this Ed Sheeran song's doing this amount of streams in this country and that country and this country, and they're coordinating all those offices. And bear in mind, each office probably has 30 to 50 people, even in the smallest country of Spain or something like that, right? That they're all pushing to push that Ed Sheeran song in their markets.
Yeah.
And that is why you will see Ed Sheeran as a global star. That is why you'll see Dua Lipa as a global star. 2 weeks ago, I was in Cyprus. Bro, I heard 2 Dua Lipa songs every hour. I was just in Paphos with my girlfriend. I rented a car for 2 days. I didn't hear our local rapper from Graham Daily on the radio in Paphos. And I'm not saying that can't be achieved, but I just think the independent argument has more come into play, I think, for black music. And I think I respect it and I understand it because the barriers have come down. What I love about streaming and YouTube and Graham Daily and all these platforms is there's nothing to stop a kid or a grown-up adult making a song in their bedroom, getting it online, shooting their video, paying Graham Daily to put it on, and then they get 1 million views. And sometimes that even leads to someone like me contacting them going, bro, you got 1 million views, let's have a conversation. And it's like, there's no longer that gatekeeping aspect of it. So you could go from bedroom to superstar in a short space of time. You know, I look at Rams, I look at myself, I signed Coombs at Relentless. These are people that have done well to get their thing going, they've put it online, and the public's gone, we want that.
Yeah.
Right? So next for the labels contacting them, and they're getting paid, and they're doing shows, and it's just all happening very quick. But I think if you want to be global and you want to be known in multiple countries, then no one can point to me and that's done it without the help of a major label or that infrastructure. And also, I'd say what those artists do, which I think we should do more in black music, is they just work with that label. They get the best deal they can at the time, which is down to their leverage. If you're Drake, you was the hottest thing in rap at that time, but Adele, I'm sure, was signed for an average record deal in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then they have success. They see what they've made for company and what they've made, and then they just go back and renegotiate. And that renegotiation bit is something no one talks about.
Yeah.
Everyone's like trying to get the bag up front. They're trying to get the check up front, trying to get the most money. And I've always said to artists and managers, if you believe in your product and you believe in yourself, then let's have success together. And when we have that success together and you come knocking at the door saying, Mr. Lloyd Murray, Warner Records, I made you £1 million, can I get da-da-da on the return or this and that on the splits? Who's going to say no? No one's going to say no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think independence is good.
Yeah.
I think it's great to get your thing started, but I think every artist has to ask themselves where they're comfortable going and where they're comfortable being at and what their ambition is, because I think, major labels, they've got, bro, it's just mad. The endless, not that they're unlimited pot, I don't want to put it like that, but the finances, the resources, the money they have is what I don't think many people could compete with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think they can. I've sat with many independent managers and artists, and they go, yeah, I've got money, I've got P, like I've got money to do this and that. I'm like, you've got your money to do this, but you don't have major label record money to throw at the wall and see if it sticks. Like, a label will turn around and go, yeah, man, we signed this kid Io and we're just going to spend $100,000 on his video just because we think we should. Yeah. You don't have that money in your bank account to throw away. Some will. There'll be someone that I'm sure that will hear this and go, yeah, I've got £1 million to throw away. It's like, yeah, cool. And I hope it works. But major labels do it all the time, every day. There's just unlimited resources and finance there to make artists work and make artists successful. Do you know what I mean? So, that's how I kind of see it.
I think you.
So I'm not against independence. To sum up, because I know it might sound bad. I'm not against independence, but I think every artist has to ask themselves what they're trying to achieve in their career.
One thing that's been kind of on my mind recently, because I remember when I was first looking at to get into the A&R position, I remember got reached out to do this ambassador program. And it was for this company that I think is maybe affiliated with Sony.
Yeah.
And like one of the guys there was like, he'd worked with Jackson, Quincy Jones, so it's OG. And now this company, which is primarily based in and around, like, in Africa. I think Akon as well is affiliated with them.
Sick.
And the whole company is just based on this AI algorithm where they take in input from a load of artists, and it's able to kind of align them with what's going to be a hit song. And they've done work with like the Grammys, and it put like this thought in my mind, because I also know like the head of YouTube Music has talked about this formula that the industry is looking at to create a hit song. And as an A&R, obviously that is also kind of the thought process, is trying to find artists that can produce that hits on a regular. I just want to pick your brain on what you think the industry is going to move into when it comes to compiling a lot of this data to push artists now, and what that means for an artist. Like, are we moving away from that true kind of creative, like, expressive to I want to appeal more to the mass? Because it's very, like you said, like, the industry is moving to a place of like, you've got to be more universal and more mainstream appeal.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, but what do you mean by like artists, or do you mean just like the songs? How do you?
I think the songs in general, but as an artist, like if you're working with someone, what is your input in terms of how they need to make their songs, and whether that is I need you to do something that I know is gonna blow on TikTok, or whether it's kind of just, you know, make what you need to make and we'll pick and choose what's, you know, the
Yeah,
best
yeah, yeah,
sound.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I get
yeah,
your thinking now. Okay,
yeah,
so I think like I've seen this a lot over the industry over the years. People trying to come up with companies,
yeah,
technology.
yeah,
It could predict this song will do this. It could
yeah,
fit like I think data is data, and yes, you could use data to inform you. I
yeah,
think in terms of the making of the music,
yeah,
I don't believe there's a one size fits all. I
yeah,
think yes, you could look at how things are done. Like Spotify helped shape the quicker like length of a song. So
yeah,
before Spotify, you might have people going, "Yeah, man, the song's got to be 3 minutes,"
yeah,
and then suddenly everyone was like, "Actually, no, because if it's 2 minutes, people play it quicker, streaming playlists and that." And you
yeah,
know, big up an artist called Pink Pantheress. Her songs are
yeah,
like 2 minutes.
yeah, yeah,
You know, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing, yeah.
yeah,
And sometimes a song only needs to be 2 minutes, but
yeah,
there's still gonna be times when you're like, nah, that song that was 3 minutes 30 was hard. And
yeah,
you're not gonna judge it. You're not gonna judge Kendrick Lamar spitting his heart out because it was 4 minutes. You're
yeah,
gonna sit there and watch Heartbeat 5 and go,
yeah,
wow, that just blew me away. Like, do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
You know, so I always find it's about the balance. And I think no one could tell you, oh, every pop song or every hit was done this way, because
yeah,
sometimes it's not. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? I think you could have a standard structure and you could have a template,
yeah,
which is okay, you might have an intro, verse, chorus, second verse, chorus, middle eight, or whatever. But
yeah,
again, sometimes you got to go back to the feeling and you got to
yeah,
say, actually, do we need to have a middle eight there if it doesn't feel right? Does it feel right to do a double chorus and end the song?
yeah,
Does it feel right for us to do the first verse is 16 bars, but the second verse is 8 bars because we want to bring the chorus back in quicker because the chorus is amazing? Like, I think sometimes you could get too caught up in this is how things gotta be.
yeah,
This is how it was. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And sometimes I think more than ever now, you've just got to go a bit with a feeling, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
And I love like Central C. He sampled Pink Pantheress,
yeah,
and I remember talking to him around that time, and he just made it how it felt. Yeah, I hope a trap was your time, and it was like, again, 1 minute and 30, 1:45. Like it wasn't a long song,
yeah,
but that song's gone platinum.
yeah,
It actually went platinum yesterday. So then, is he wrong?
yeah,
Are we wrong? Did someone needed to say, well, no, because it should have been 3 minutes. It should have been 3 minutes 30. Would he have had the success? So I think it's a bit of like you could look at structure of songs and you could look at how something's been done, but eventually you got to go back to the feeling. And
yeah,
I like to A&R that way as well. You
yeah,
know, when I was talking to Getz, so he won't mind me saying this, he had a song with Ed Sheeran on his album, and it was him being the first two verses with Ed Sheeran the third verse. And he made it like that, right? He
yeah,
made the song, he made two verses, sent the song to Ed. Ed came in, said, yeah, I'm going to do the third verse, I'm going to sing the chorus. And I was like, you know what? I think Ed Sheeran should be the second verse. And he was like, do you think so? And I was like, yeah. I was like, let's get an edit done
yeah,
and let's see. So
yeah,
my thing is always as an A&R, if I've got ideas in my head, I'm going to talk to my artists about those ideas and then let's execute them. I could be wrong and I'll happily say, oh, that didn't work. Let's go
yeah,
back to your way,
yeah,
right? But my thing is, let's try and see. And it's how I kind of did school. I don't like exams.
yeah,
I hated the idea of revising and big up people that smash exams. I hated the idea of revising for days or months,
yeah,
jotting down notes, and then go into this pressured, intense room and someone go, right, you got 90 minutes, crack on. And I used to sit there some exams and I used to be like, oh my God, my mind's gone blank. I could only remember one bit.
yeah,
But I love coursework.
yeah,
And the reason I loved coursework and I smashed all my coursework and during college I did BTEC courses, so it was
yeah,
more coursework led, is that I could write 2 pages, leave it for the day,
yeah,
and then go back once in the clear head. wow, you know what, you were talking gibberish there, Lloyd. Delete that, do this, copy and paste that. That intro to your argument should be better. That summary should be better. So I look at music like that. As long as you've got your original file, let's try some stuff. Let's try
Yeah.
this intro at the end. Let's try that outro at the beginning. If it doesn't work, no one else has to hear it.
Yeah.
You know, me and Getz have done a few of them. Me and whoever, like any artist I've worked with, I'll say, if it's wrong, no one has to hear it. This stays on our hard drive. But let's try it. And sometimes artists will push back. Sometimes artists go, no, man, because I made it like this in the room. Like, trust me, this works. So you're like, all right, cool. Like, if it works, it works. And I'm never going to tell an artist, do what I say. Because I also believe that I don't have to bear the brunt of the consequences. You know, I get to walk to the shop and no one know who I am.
Yeah.
But that artist has to walk and someone judge them on their music. And I always say to artists, like, walk with your head high, because whether that song sells 1 copy or 1 million copies, you've got to justify that. I don't. I could turn around and go, yeah, that didn't work, but I'll go to Tesco and no one know who I am. And you've got to deal with people going, that's so shit.
Yeah.
You put that out there, like, you know what I mean? So the artist is always going to win with me.
Yeah.
But I'm always going to challenge the artist and say, look, let's try it. Do you know what I mean? Let's try it. If it works, it doesn't work, how do we feel about it? You know, maybe I've got a few references. You know, sometimes I do that with artists and I say, you know what, your song reminds me of these songs. And what worked for these songs was they did this and they did that. So maybe if we use that as a good idea or reference point, we could get the same result. And I'm not picking songs that have done rubbish. I'm like, that song went on to do this in 1999 or that song went on to do. So sometimes you're looking back, and that is a bit I like as well, because I always liked history at school and I wanted to be a lawyer before. When I was 12, I wanted to be a lawyer. Then I changed to A&R at 16 along the way. But law is about that. Yeah, if you ask lawyers, they come to defend their client with a lot of past cases where the outcomes were in their favour. So they go, we look at case John versus James in 1990. James did this and he got let off. So my client should, like, it's all about going back and bring it to the future, paraphrases. So yeah, I don't think, to answer your question, I don't think I could A&R like that. I don't believe that you could just use these companies or things and go, oh, well, the company said if we make the song 2 minutes 20, we'll have 100 million streams. Like, I don't believe that. Sometimes it's a bit of a feeling as well, and what feels right and what sounds right. Do you know what I mean? So that's what works.
No, that's really interesting to hear, because I know that for a lot of young people as well that are starting to make music, it's that kind of, it might not be necessarily an algorithm or something like that following, but it's that, oh, I need to make it so it has TikTok appeal. There's a great thing that That's something that's in the mindset of a lot of young people. But like for me personally, when I started managing, the thing that drove me to it, because like my kind of path into the industry wasn't necessarily traditional, in that I was more focused on like acting and going into that field. But the arts as a whole is where my passion's at, you know. And what I love about it is the ability to kind of create, like, without any restrictions or whatever. And that's what, again, appealed me to music, is seeing the artists I've worked with in the studio, creating, making something from nothing into something. And I think it's just a beautiful process, and I hope that for more young people and more artists just in general have that feeling when they're heading into the studio, just creating and seeing what happens and being surrounded with a team that can help them steer them in the right direction.
And you know what? I hear it as well. I hear when young people go, yeah, but he just did this and he bust. Like, and it's okay, what works for him or her might work for you too, right? But you've got to think, what are you trying to achieve, again, out of this? You know, if you've seen someone go viral and then you thought, oh, they've gone viral and I could do it, and you go and do the same thing, cool. But I try to say to artists, take the positive side of what they've done. Let that inspire you and go, oh, okay, I could do it too. But don't think you're just going to copy and paste or do the same thing as that person and you'll get the same result, because it might not go like that.
Yeah.
And then you got to look yourself in the mirror and go, was that song or was that idea, was that true to me? Was that true to my craft? And I remember going somewhere, and he won't mind me using this. I use a lot of examples sometimes. But I remember someone asked me, they said, oh, why did you sign Coombs? So I signed Coombs at Relentless for a single deal. He was a YouTuber. He was Asian. He made a song called Mariah. And people thought I just tried to take, right?
Yeah.
But it was a time people were getting annoyed because there was EO German, and people felt like, oh, these YouTubers, they're trying to do music. Is it whatever? And I was like, but you know what? He's found a beat. He's recorded it in his bedroom. He's paid someone to shoot the video, paid to get on Grand Daily, and the song isn't that bad.
Yeah.
And that is him. He didn't suddenly come on the mic going, yeah, I'm a roadman from Streatham, I was selling drugs. Like, he just made a song where he's trying to sing in a good way about a girl called Mariah.
Yeah.
And I love that song.
Yeah.
That song started to do mad views on Grand Daily, and I'm like, now at that point, it's not his fault if someone like me is going, I want to pay you money
Word.
for that song.
Word.
So I often think that you just have to be true to yourself and hold your head high with what you do, and kind of not get drawn in. If you are going to see people doing well, just try and use it as a positive thing. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, I saw so-and-so started rapping and I thought I could rap too, or whatever. That's fine. That's positive influence. But don't look at someone and go, oh, yeah, well, they're now boss and they're making money, and so I'm going to do the same thing they did and I'll get a deal. Or I'll
Yeah.
make money. It's like, that's not the thinking. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's not the thinking at all.
Yeah, you know, wanna pick your brain a little bit on
Yeah,
your
go, man.
process in working with artists, because like you've done the managing, and you've also as an A&R, you have a lot of interactions with artists, and for me, like I've had some people come up to me wanting help in terms of management, and I've always said that like I am free to give advice and to just give out any information that you may need, but management is such a different thing in
Yeah.
like you're so involved.
Yep.
And like I really tend to, and I have just worked with people that one, like I know their work ethic and I know them and I see the vision. Like I always tell artists I work with, like I'm here to help you pursue that vision. Like I'm
Yeah.
here to make that vision a reality. So what is your kind of process in deciding, this artist I'm going to work with, whether that be as an A&R or I think more as a manager?
Yeah.
What is your process in that?
As a manager, when I was younger, before I was at A&R, I was just managing, I was just hungry. Like,
Yeah.
anyone that gave me a shot to manage them, I would just be on it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we should do this. Let me set you up at PRS. Let me
Yeah.
set up your account. Like, just try and give your knowledge and information to that person and just leave them free to create. And then I kind of had a few experiences where I think people maybe didn't value that. And then
Yeah.
you go away and you go, wow, like, I'm working harder than you. Like,
Yeah.
how's this working? I'm
Yeah.
not. You ain't made me £1 because I only get paid when you get paid. How can I want it more than you? So then you have to reassess and you go, okay, this isn't working out. Do you know what I mean? Because like you just said, I'm meant to help facilitate you and help you. And if my drive is more than yours, then how's that gonna work? You know what I mean? I can't make the song for you.
Yeah.
I can't tell you go studio today.
Right.
I can tell you go studio today, but you
Yeah.
gotta want to go studio
Exactly.
and put the hours into making the song and your craft. So I think increasingly as I got more experience in management, I started to look at how talented people were, their temperament, and how they work. Can how they work with me? You know, once I became an A&R as well as a manager, so I was managing first, then became an A&R.
Yeah.
I had to explain to Crazy Cousins and then who else do I manage now? A friend called Piers James and a guy called CJ Beats, who's like Wide Awake. That's his dance alias. And I had to explain to them that you might not speak to me for 3 days in a row. That's not because I'm ignoring you. That's just because I'm mad busy. And I need you guys that are, you know, adults, they're not kids,
Exactly.
to actually handle your side, you know.
Yeah.
So whether that's you going studio, whether that's you, you know, registering a song on PRS because you're signed up as well, you know, whether it's you finishing off something and then send it to me. So I try and find the balance in people that I manage. It's like,
Yeah.
how they work, does that work with me and how I work? If it doesn't, then we're gonna clash
Yeah.
because you can't be calling me once every hour. Oh, what about this? Oh, what about that? That's not gonna happen. You're gonna feel frustrated that I've aired your call or I haven't called you back. You're gonna feel away. I'm gonna think, why is this person always calling me?
Yeah.
So I think I try to pick people like that. And then I guess with A&R in, it's similar, but it depends on the type of deal. If I'm signing you for a single, I might not need to care too much about your work ethic. You know, you might just made a hot song, it's popping on Mixtape Madness or Grand Daily. I'm like, I need that song.
Yeah.
That song's gonna be a big summer song or a big winter song, whatever it be. Let's work together and then we could feel each other out after that. But if I'm gonna sign you for albums, then and we're gonna work together for some amount of time, I've got to feel like we're on the same page and we can have honest conversations and we could do what we need to do. So I think you're always, when you're A&R, you're listening to the music, but you're looking at the person, you're looking at their temperament, their judgment on things, how they are, how they react to criticism, how they react to feedback, what motivates them, even how their relationship is with their manager. You know, I've met artists and I'm like, your manager is your manager, but actually they're your friend, and you let them know that they can't tell you nothing. So then essentially, I'm now looking at in a room just like this, and I'm looking at 3 or 4 people, and I'm like, actually, your manager's not going to be able to tell you the difficult stuff when I tell them the difficult stuff to relate to you, because you're not going to want to hear it, because in your head, you've put your boy in place, or that's your cousin that you've put in place to manage you.
Yeah.
So I'm even watching that. I'm watching like, how's the dynamic between artists and manager? Like, who have they come to meet me with? Is it their mum? Is it their brother? Is it their... And I'm looking at the whole picture, thinking, how can we work together? Because we all want success, but we're all gonna get in this vehicle, and we gotta be on the same page that we're going to the same place. If me and you in the car and I'm saying, bro, we are going to Hackney today, and you go, yeah, but to go through Hackney, go through Blackwall Tunnel, and I'm like, no, go through Dartford Tunnel.
Yeah.
We're not on the same page,
Yeah.
right? So we've got to know we're going to this destination, and we're all in the same page, and we're all in the car, and we're happy in that car.
Yeah.
You know, this is not a car all bickering and fighting and silence and everyone's angry, no one can communicate. Like, everyone's got to be on the same page, and I believe that's when you get sometimes the best results. You know what I mean? I believe that. I do. So yeah, that's how I kind of see it, to be honest.
Yeah, and yeah, 100% agree. Like, for me, I've had to learn that the hard way at times, in that from a manager's standpoint, you are so involved in their career, and sometimes, especially at the start, you're so invested in their success that it's paramount that, like, you have this drive for them. But sometimes that isn't reciprocated in them wanting to have that drive, and that can just be a type of frustration. And I found, that's when you gotta step back and reevaluate everything, making sure that we can at least get everyone on, like you said, the same page.
That's when you gotta leave them.
Yeah.
Because if you find yourself wanting it more than them, it's just never gonna work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got to find the talent that you look at and you go, you know what? With your talent and my drive and business acumen, because that's what it is. It's marrying the business with the music.
Yeah.
You know, while they're making the music and focusing, you might help with the music too, because you're naturally got A&R instincts.
Yeah.
So you'll pop by the studio, you might source them beats, you might suggest sessions. You know, I think there's different managers in that sense, and I've always met the managers that are like that, and I'm more like that manager. Like, I handle business, but I want to know what song you're making. I want to know who you're in the studio with today. You know what time you there till 8 p.m? All right, I'll pass through 7 p.m, the last hour, hear a little vibe, whatever. But there's some managers that are just purely business, so they go, you know what, if the artist is talented, let them just focus on the music. I'm never going to pass by the studio, I'm never going to give my musical opinion, but I'm going to handle everything business-wise. I'm going to make sure that artist gets their money on time, their songs are registered, everyone is doing what they need to do, so my artist is free just to be talented. And Drake has that. You know, Drake's whole team of OVO, everyone that he has in place is designed so that he just has to make music.
Yeah.
You know, Drake doesn't want to be dealing with all the meetings and all the and you hear him saying his lyrics. I found it funny the other day. He said on the CLB album, and he said, "Oh, Future signs the contracts. I don't even check them."
Yeah.
But he's saying that's how much he trusts his brother that manages him. You know, Oliver's opening up a new OVO store somewhere. Cool, leave him to it. Do you know what I mean? He's put people in place so that all he has to do is wake up and make music.
Yeah.
And when you could do that, that's why for me, he's probably number one or has been number one. Maybe sometimes drops to 2.
Yeah.
Now Kendrick's back, whatever. But Kendrick will go away, Drake will drop something and be number one again.
Yeah.
Right? So he's made it that way, and I think that's where like it works really well. So I'd often say to you and any young person listening that, you know, if someone's really talented and you just believe in their talent and you could do the business side, cool. But if they don't want it, or they haven't got the drive, or then it's hard. It's hard to. You know, what's the phrase? You can bring the horse to the fire, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah, it's facts.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, I think for a lot of young people that might be watching this on the artist side of things, they're going to be curious from you as an A&R working with major labels. What advice would you give in the early stages when there isn't much noise, going on, and they're making music, but in this day and age, sometimes that isn't enough. Like just making the music, especially early on, if you want to get noticed, there's a lot of performance that you have to do in terms of like being on socials, trying to build a fan base, like actually get a fan base.
Yeah.
What advice would you give for artists on that kind of stage?
I often think I use this phrase like the phone is the feedback. So in your hand, in me and you's hand, in every artist's hand, we've got this phone.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the greatest thing that's been invented is these phones,
Yeah.
because we could do so much with our phones, bro. And there's all these platforms, whether it's TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, maybe not Facebook anymore because young people are not really on it, right? And you've just got to pick which channels work for you.
Yeah.
I say to artists, these are your marketing channels.
Yeah.
These are your ways to communicate directly to your fans. So once you find, you don't need to be on all of them. Sometimes people are on all of them, but you've got to find the ones that you're strong at and the ones you could do well. I've seen people that are not really good at replying to comments on Instagram, but snap them and they reply.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I follow Krept, and I think Krept is amazing at Snapchat. He just makes me laugh every day. He's filming his daughter, he's filming something, but he might not put that on his Insta stories because he's maybe not as comfortable with Insta as he is with Snapchat. I see people that still tweet, and I'm like, wow, they've really got a big Twitter following. But I know Central C doesn't have a Twitter. Now, that might, not because he's lazy, he just might not want to write 200 characters every day. So he'll rather be an Insta, he'll rather be. So I think once you find those things, I think artists in the beginning need to work that out. Where are you promoting yourself? Where are you talking directly to your audience? And then I think it's about the honing of your craft, the honing of your talent. There's another saying, big up Central C, he says it a lot, but I believe in it too. You can't rush greatness. And I also believe in another thing called God's timing. Opportunity is luck meets preparation. And if you are honing your craft and you're honing your talent, you're going studio, you're writing your raps, you're getting singing lessons, you're performing where you need to be, like, these are all things that artists in the beginning can be doing. There's nothing to stop you contacting a live night and going, hey man, can I perform at your next one? Nothing to stop you doing that. If you got a manager at the time, get your manager to do it. Yo, manager, I need some shows because you know what, I need to practice these songs live, or I need to know if I've got feedback, like whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's all about everything an artist should be doing in the beginning is just practicing, perfecting their craft, learning how to talk to an audience and building an audience, and then everything else will follow. I'm always scared when I meet artists or managers and they're like, yeah, we got some big tunes, but we don't want to put them out till we have a label back in. I'm like, what? bro, put your song out.
Yeah,
Like, that's the
yeah.
real feedback.
Yeah.
If your song gets popping, I will find you.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's a load of A&Rs out here that will find you. They will hunt you down. Emails, call, know someone that knows you. I never forget a story where SL put out the song Tropical. And I said to my boss at Relentless, like, do we want to look at him? He goes, yeah. Like, bro, the song's moving. Why not?
Yeah.
And I had to call my cousin who knew his friend. His friend's younger brother was SL's friend.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to go through one man to another man. He then had to go to his younger brother to say, yo, my friend's friend is an A&R and he wants to talk to SL. And by the end of that night, I had a phone call with SL.
Yeah.
Then SL is like, okay, you've come to me through 30 channels,
Yeah.
but now you need to take this number and talk to my manager. And to me, I just thought, that's wicked,
Yeah.
because it was me doing my job and trying to hunt him down, but he never had no email contact or this thing.
Yeah.
He never had, and you could tell that he was just about his music.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to talk to these A&Rs. I don't want to,
Yeah.
you know what, I made my song Tropical. I've got a manager, all right, you talk to him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think that going back, like, I just think in the beginning, it's just about grinding. You know, it's
Yeah.
just about perfecting your craft, honing your skills, putting music out, building an audience. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That is the real thing. And when you see people like Digger D going number one or Central C going number one, they have an audience.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
they've built that.
Facts, you know, and I think again, and I'm not ask you about this, but I think that applies as well to young people who are trying to get involved in the industry on like the business side of things. Because like for myself, I know that my journey has just been full of one, ups and downs, and two, being put in positions that I didn't even think would, you know, be available to me. I remember starting off like managing one of my boys, and that was just the initial start of things. And then I remember being in the studio one day, and we had this was like our first time in Pyro, and we had people come through, and I got us a sound engineer, and the sound engineer was like, how old are you guys? Like, you guys are 30, the music you're making is 30 and stuff, and that just gassed me up, and it made me deep that, okay, cool. I don't want to just be a manager that's like, oh, I'm this guy's boy, blah, blah, blah. So I remember taking a step back, working with like independent artists to be on their team, learn about how things work, did some social media management for some artists, then took a break and stepped into like working with like some sync companies, understand that side, worked with Finesse Forever, doing a business course, and also getting an opportunity to do some more A&R scouting roles. And for me, and during that period, that was a lot of, you know, going and doing interviews and then nothing happening from that, and a lot of like, well, is this actually worth it? Like, is this...
Yeah.
But like you said, when it came to on the artist side, you have to have that drive and that like willingness to just grind through some of the noise and understand where your head is important. And I want to know your thoughts and advice you'd give to young people who they don't want to be an artist, but they love the music industry and they want to get involved. How does that start for them? You know,
I think that's researching, you know, which areas you're interested in. Once you've established you don't want to be in the forefront, then it's now for you to figure out what those roles look like. You know, like I said to you, I just happened to read a Simon Cowell book. I was reading a Simon Cowell book because I saw him on X Factor. Right? So that's where it starts. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So just buy his book. Oh, A&R. Oh, he signed Teletubbies. Oh, he did this, he did that. Right, wicked. Right? Now I understand the words A&R, what that is and how what that can be. And then you're just finding out every day or every weekend, whatever, how I can get closer to that. You know what I mean? I've identified at 16 that's the role in a record label that I want to do. And then you develop how you're going to get there, and then you realize, oh, that's the role that's actually for me. Because I saw what marketing did in a label, and I saw what the digital marketing manager did, and I saw what the video commissioner did, and I saw what this other person does, and I was like, yeah, I couldn't do them roles. So this is for me. So I think it's for you to work out, once you understand the music industry is where you want to be, then you got to work out how you want to get to those roles. You know what I mean? And sometimes you're going to start off elsewhere. You know, like I said, my first internship in a label was dealing with merch and all this. And I was like, I don't want to do this, but I had to be in the building. And once I got in the building, I thought I could meet people and network and figure it out. And also, there was nothing wrong with just learning for 3 months about something else, right? Because it's still the music industry. You know, and that's why I compare it to like maybe the film industry or even football. You hear people going, "Oh, I was a runner. I was a runner on the film set." Now they knew when they was running around getting drinks and food for everyone else that really they wanted to be the director. But how are you gonna get on a film set when you're not ready to be the director yet? So sometimes you might have to be the person going, I'm gonna get the drinks for everyone else. But today I saw this scene in Batman get shot, or I saw this scene in whatever get shot. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's often a case of doing your research, figuring out what you want to do or where you want to be. And sometimes that could take time. You know, you don't get it straight away. You know, sometimes you need to do a few roles. You know, I had a friend, she went uni with me. Her name's Robin Peters. And I helped her get an internship at Warner. But her first internship, so HR called me and they go, "Oh, you're really good, right? Do you have any friends?" And I call, and this is just a quick big up to her, I called 10 people. She was last on the list. I thought she would not care. And the first 9 people all said, "Can't do it. I work a full-time job. Can't commit to 3 months." I'm not going to lie. I thought it was excuses, but I don't know everyone's life. This girl works at a betting shop on the weekends and she goes, "I'll do it." Right? She's like, I'm like, "You know what? I think they want to interview like tomorrow." She's like, "Yeah, I'll do it. Leave me in." She then gets an internship. She smashes the internship, I think in international marketing, that the 2 people that she's reporting to are like, "We can't let you go. Like, we need to get you a job." So they get her a job. Then she leaves there. She goes to be an A&R assistant at Warner Chapel, but she doesn't really love it. So she's like, okay, still want to stay in music, but I need to figure it out. Then she sees a job at Island Records being a TV plugger. So she's like, "What's a TV plugger?" So she's like, "Oh, that's people, you know, they take their artists to TV shows, they try and get them on Jules Holland or anything to do with an artist being on TV." That was her role. So she does that, loving it. Then realizes she wants to do that and radio. So then she starts learning from the radio department. And all the while, she's, I guess, finessing or still working out where she wants. And then when I last spoke to her, she was like, "Yeah, radio is my thing. Like, radio and streaming is my thing. I don't even really do the TV thing no more." But she started as an intern. She started in international marketing. So sometimes you've just got to figure it out, research. If you can research beforehand and you find out that thing, great. If not, then still don't just be doing the research without knowing. Like, apply for internships. Like, apply for things, talk to people, you know, meet people in each different area. What do you do? What does your day-to-day look like? You know, how do you, and then you'll get a feel for how it works and what's what, do you know what I mean? And then you'll hopefully find your calling within that, do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's my advice, to be fair, in the beginning.
You know, I want to circle back on the artists, because when we were talking about, like, you look, if you're, you know, talking to an artist, you also look at how their relationship with their managers and stuff. And for me, I'm in a period where, like, now it's about building a team around an artist. And I think that is important because, again, the artist can't do everything, you know? And they need that support to be able to handle a lot of the other things that come with being an artist in the music industry. And I want to know what your opinion is on your opinion on building a team around an artist and what makes a successful team for an artist.
When you say a team, what do you mean? Like,
I mean, like a manager, person who maybe handles, because in this age as well, like, there's a lot of artists that can be successful in more than just music. So jumping on YouTube, so maybe a videographer, handles all of that, handles the merch, handles, you know, booking and stuff. So there's a lot that goes around becoming successful as an artist.
Yeah, but I think you only build a team like if you need it. Do you know what I mean? I think first point of call is the moment any artist feels like trying to be creative or make music is being stifled by doing business or admin,
Yeah.
they need a manager. You know what I mean? Like we said, artists should just be free to go studio, create, write at home, whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And then I think after that, it's then to look and go, okay, what else do we need? You know, do I need a videographer to roll with me? Okay, there's someone else on the team. Do I need someone to do merch? Do I even want to do merch? You know what I mean? Merch isn't for everyone.
Yeah.
And some people just don't have that vision. They're not into fashion like that. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Some artists will tell you from the beginning, yeah, man, because I'm going to do a clothing line, I'm going to do this, and oh, look at the t-shirt I'm wearing, I designed it myself, or my boy does art. Like, when you saw people endorsing Trapstar early, and it's like, yeah, man, we know Trapstar, they're from West, But there's some artists, you know, I think Heady One's into fashion, but he loves buying name brand tracksuits. Like, he loves what he loves. So it's like, you just adjust your team as and when you need it. Do you know what I mean? I don't think anything should be forced from the beginning. Like, oh, we need a team of people doing this, we need a team of people doing that, because ultimately you just need to get to where you need to get to and do what you need to do. And the more people you have on your team that are necessary, the more you're just carrying anyway. Do you know what I mean? And then later on the line, that's how you're going to get expensive. Because the more people you're rolling with day to day, the more you got to pay for them, the more you got to feed them, the more you got to say, there's no need having a team if you don't need it. And often I find the best way is just to have your friends. Have your friends and family, man. Do you know what I mean? If you start being successful and your cousin wants to roll, but he doesn't have a thing that he does, say, bro, okay, bro, you know what? Can you help with my merch? I'm touring today, or I'm performing here at this festival. Someone needs to throw out the t-shirts while I'm running up and down the stage shirtless. Like, do you know what I mean? There's always a role for something as you become more successful. You know, do you know what, bro? I've got to do wireless. I'm on early, but just roll because I might need a bit of security. I might need this. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think the best way is if you could find people around you that you could help and mold and shape to do some of these things. But in the beginning, I don't think they're as pressing or urgent or as necessary as some people might think. Do you know what I mean? I think the key thing is the music. Music, and you and your manager, or managers, if you have more than one, just being on the same page and trying to get in that car to that same destination. And what success looks like for all of you guys and how you keep doing that. Do you know what I mean? So that's it, really. Was that the question again? Sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there.
Like, I think you touched on exactly like what I was going on in one, the importance of a team, and you're right, it has to be kind of the right time and right place. Artists early on, it may not make as much sense as maybe just establishing your music or a bit more than that comes to a point where certain things you may not be able to handle on your own, and that's when a team can help you kind of steer you in the right direction when it comes to
and it might be the manager, you know, it might be you saying to Nat, look, I'm way too busy, so I need to bring someone on to make sure I could focus on the key bits of your career, and there's some things I could delegate, you know what I mean, not everything, but there might be some things you as a manager could go, you know what, I don't need to do that bit. So I've met managers where they will employ an assistant or even an intern or someone part-time to help them because they maybe can't get to the video shoot on Thursday. You know, they can't get to the rehearsal on Friday, so they'll send the assistant. But that doesn't mean they're not working. That just means they might be at an important meeting with Puma about you. You know what I mean? So they can't be in two places at once. How can I be at your rehearsal for Wireless when I've got to go to the performance, I've got to go to the meeting with Nike for them to sponsor your tour? Like, do you see what I'm saying? So an example is like even Getz, you know, Getz has been around for a long time. Getz has two managers, you know. There's always going to be one manager that's with him more time, but then there's another manager that might not be at his rehearsal, might not be wherever, but he'll be there when he needs to be there, you know. So, and those two managers will work that out as well. You know what, who's going with Getz today? He's going to do this today. He's going to, you know what I'm saying? So I think you just like, it's all about balance and as and when you need things. Basically, in the beginning, you can't force any of that. If you meet a team of people, so this is now advice to artists. If you meet a team and you go, you know what, there's 4 of them and they all do this and they all do that, great. You know what I mean? Some artists like that. They like that they're going to be managed by a number of people, and that people might be a company or whatever. I remember at Relentless, big up Too Loud, they were a team of like 4. So Notes essentially had 4 managers, but there'd be people that he was with more day to day. There'd be the others, and they'd all be doing different things. And together they were Too Loud Entertainment, and they went on to manage other artists and producers, and that was them as a team. So they would often meet artists going, we're a team. We're the Too Loud Entertainment team. You know, I think 5K management, or 2K management, sorry, Mo and Kilo, they're a team. They're brothers. So if they're going to manage anyone, you're going to meet both of them. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, I think that's just how it works. I don't manage with anyone else. At AA Entertainment's just me. I've had people ask me for internships, but I can't afford it. I can't trust them. So I keep it just as me. I keep it just as me. But also because I could handle it. Do you know what I mean? The moment I couldn't handle it, maybe I would get an intern. Maybe I would pay for an assistant. But at the moment, my roster, and if like going back, how I manage my roster, it's okay. Do you know what I mean? I'm not stretched beyond belief with that. So it's all good.
Yeah. We'll kind of go back as to when you did start to get early on positions in the industry.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to people who are in that position where they may be doing an internship at a major? Like, what are the keys to standing out, or the keys to making that internship successful?
So I'm ready for this one. I was giving someone this advice at the Great Escape in Brighton. She said to me she's an intern, and I think her internship was ending in 2 months' time. I think, number one, you've got to be 1, 2, 3. I would say 3 minutes. Oh wow. You've got to be indispensable. I think you've got to be polite, speak to everyone, and put out there what you want to do, you know, but still do your job as well. I've often met a lot of internships, or a lot of people doing internships, and they think it's just about talking. It's like, I just want to network. It's like, no. Do your job that you've been brought in to do. Because even as an intern, you've got tasks. You've got day-to-day things to do. And then while you're smashing that, and you should be knocking all those out the park, and making the cups of tea, and doing the lunch run, and being polite and nice, then you might find you have time at the end of the day or the end of the week to go around the building and figure out what other people do. And then go to them and say, I work in the building, I'm here for 6 months internship, we'd love to pick your brains. That's the easiest way, because once you're inside, like I said, a foot in the building, then you can maneuver around and you can network, and you'll see someone like me, and you'll see someone like my colleague Jeremiah, or you'll see someone like whatever, and they'll be around, you know. But I think in the beginning, do your job, work hard, be indispensable, focus, and network. You know, that's key if you're doing an internship right now, or you're trying to get a foot in the door. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
bro. Honestly, it's been so blessed having you here, man. Like,
it's a pleasure, man.
So many gems, and just hearing you speak about the industry in such depth has been so helpful. I'm sure all the people listening are gonna find something that you said that's gonna help them progress in their career, and that's what this platform is built for. So it's been a pleasure having this conversation with you.
No, and big up you guys as well, man, because it's important you guys get the acknowledgement for what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? And if you guys weren't doing the right things and the positive things, I wouldn't be here. I would just par it, or I wouldn't care. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, it's important. It's important. No, but it's important what you guys are doing. And to any young people listening, like, feel free to hit me up. If you listen to this, you want advice or information, I'll try my best to respond. There's definitely those industries out there, and you're just not going to get involved. Like, I look at golf, I look at tennis, I look at Formula One, and we big up Tiger Woods, and we big up Lewis Hamilton, and we big up the Serena sisters, Serena and Venus, you know what I mean? But I had a friend when we was younger, a friend called Matthew, wicked tennis player. I think he was 12. coach finds him, says, "You're wicked," right? Goes to his mum and dad and says, "Your son's wicked at tennis. I want to coach him, I want to take him on." But he tells them the fees, and they're like,
Yeah.
"We can't afford that."
Yeah.
So there and then, that's that. Tennis
Yeah.
doesn't, no matter how good Matthew was at tennis, the reality is he or his parents can't afford for him to even attempt
Yeah.
to try and make it pro. Do you know how deep
Yeah.
that is?
Yeah, for real.
Like, that's
for real.
real deep.
Yeah.
That's a friend of mine now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, there's those industries where you're not going to have a shot or a chance at getting in if
Yeah.
you ain't got the money or you ain't got the contacts or you don't know people. So I think music industry is a bit more accessible.
Yeah,
And I think when it's up to people like myself that have found a way in to say to other young people, there's no difference between me and you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just very persistent. I've got a way in. But if you want that too, there's also can be a way in for you too, whether that's marketing, management, digital, A&R, like being an artist, like whatever it be. Because, yeah, I never like to think of myself, I'm above anyone. Do you know what I mean? Like I said earlier, I've got 4 A to C's. I'm the youngest of 4. I lived in Croydon. I went to Stanley Tech for boys, rough school, Stormzy, Crept, Bouncer. They went to the same school, a couple years below. And like, you could achieve. You could achieve if you want it and you want to do it. And I think it's important to show people that, you know, and even sometimes when you get in these buildings, I've met young people and they think, oh, like, he's cool, but is he different? Or is he out of touch? Or is he, and I'm like, bro, like, I'm still like you.
Yeah.
Like, my older brother went jail. I had to visit him in jail. I know about on the road. I know about that rap. I know about that deal. Like, it just is what it is. So I always like to bring it down to that level. It's like, we are not far off. It's just that I've been able to find a way in and have success doing it. And if you want that too, and to anyone listening, if you want to be the A&R, you will find that way. You won't take no for an answer. And even the current A&Rs I speak to, we see when people want to be A&Rs, but it's easy to say it. And I've come across a lot of young people that go, yeah, I want to be A&R, like, try to get into shit, and then they give up.
Yeah.
And you don't hear from them again, or they've gone into another industry, they need to get a full-time job, mum and dad are onto them, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But then there is those people that you keep seeing,
Yeah.
and you keep seeing, and you keep seeing, and you go, you know what? That person wants it. Like, that person's hungry. You know, Io, who obviously is involved, he's over there.
Yeah.
Like, I keep seeing him. I keep seeing him. I'm going to the toilet and I see Io.
Yeah.
I'm going for a lunch break and I see Io. I'm like, oh shit, like, this kid's hungry. So how can I ignore him if he's that hungry, if he's that committed, if he's that passionate, if he's that persistent? And all he's asking me is, bro, when you got some spare time, can you get involved in this? Of course.
Yeah.
I'm going to be long. You're going to have to run me down because my life's hectic. I'm here, I'm there. But you know what? Even that, you've been persistent in answering me. You're not getting upset. You're not getting rude.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen. I'll do it on a Saturday when I can because that's just what it is. So I think it's like, it's really, really important. And I encourage my peers. And that's why I did... not to try and plug my own show on your show, but when I did the Instagram lives, is because I wanted to draw those people out. I wanted to say to those people, listen, I know what you do, but others don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether that's a Joe Kennetish or Oaksy, who did I have? Despa from Birmingham, who managed it. Like, I want people to know what you people do. And it was around the time George Floyd died, so it kind of ended up being, it wasn't meant to be ethnic people, but it kind of just went that way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And there's 17 episodes online. That's season 1. But all of those people that are ethnic have or have some ethnicity in them. I think Tasha has ethnicity in her. But they, either way, they are people doing things in the industry that I felt like I wanted to get them to speak out more and speak out publicly and let everyone know what they do and their journeys and how they got where they got. So yeah, man, it's important to spread the wealth of knowledge and give back, you know.
Big up. Nah, that's honestly truly blessed again to have you on. I want to end by asking you, what does the rest of this year look like for you? What are the moves that you're trying to...
We ended already?
Yeah.
I was just getting sold. No, I'm joking. I was getting sold. End of the year. I think just having more success, bro.
Yeah.
I think for me, A&Ring, and even any job in the music industry, marketing, digital, whatever, it's a constant roller coaster. It's extreme highs and extreme lows. And I think you're on this wave and all you're trying to do is just have more highs. But you know the lows are coming.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a quote, and I think it's a popular one. It says, "Don't let success go to your head, but don't let failure go to your heart." Because when you have those lows, you know that you got to pick yourself back up again. Do you know what I mean? You know you got to say, all right, cool, don't let that. That's not the end of the world. Nobody died today. Da, 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 da. But then when you have those highs and you're selling records or you've had a certain chart position or you get a plaque, whatever, you got to say, all right, where's the next one? I got to keep it moving, you know? Yeah. So I think for me, it's just about keeping it moving. Getz is going to come with another album, which I'm really excited about, on Warner Records. Just put out a Rookie single. He's going to come with another one. And just looking for more talent, you know? I think that's the thing that excites me, is when you hear that artist or you hear that song and you're like, this is wicked. Like, this is a vibe. This is good. This is whatever it be, do you know what I mean? And just still grateful and loving the fact that I get paid to do what I love, do you know what I mean? My job never feels like work. There is some days I come home, I'm stressed out, I'm venting to my girlfriend, you know, there's politics, there's a lot of bullshit, there's other things that go with the job, but I still have to remember every day I get up, I put on my clothes. I don't wear a uniform. Yeah. Like I get to go to work in my fresh Nikes, my True Religions, like whatever I want to wear. So I just love my job. I love my lifestyle. I love what I do. I love working with artists. I love being close to the music. So yeah, it's just trying to have more success and just trying to do more of that. Really, that's it.
That's blessed. Quick one. What music are you listening to? What one track can you say that like?
Right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm loving this M Honcho and Rich 32 and Getz song. So I've had this song because Getz, his A&R. Yeah. I knew he done the verse for Honcho. But now it's out, and Honcho's album came out yesterday. Yeah. I've just been repeating it in the car, because now I can properly play it. Yeah. Before I had to find my phone, go inside the lake. Now it's out for the world to hear. So I love that song. It's called Vivid. If it's called Vivid. It's Honcho featuring Rich and Getz. And I need to listen to Kendrick Lamar's album. Obviously, I know Kendrick's sick. Yeah. I just need to find the right headspace and journey to take it in. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But what about you? What's the plans for you? Man, for the podcast, for you guys?
One podcast, like, I love these type of conversations. Like, honestly, that's the interview that I had with Ayo. The first interview, because I was going for an A&R role. The first time that we linked up, we ended up recording a little bit of a podcast just because we can get into deep. Well, I love getting into deep conversations, like and talking to people, learning from people. So I hope to give more of that to the people. I hope to provide like some knowledge from experts like yourself and people who are in it. Personally, man, it's just about growing, man. Like, you know, what we talked about on this episode and how hard it can be to like kind of bounce back from the lows. I remember talking to one of my artists like after we first performed at Sony. I was like, you know, taking this moment, really taking everything that's happening right now, because the industry is full of highs, and then the next day it's like you're back to kind of reality. So I'm in a phase of the work and putting in the work to, like you said, get as many highs as we can. But yeah,
amazing.
This has been the second episode of the Ghost Podcast. I've been AJ Banjo. We've got Lloyd in the building. Super blessed to have this conversation with you, my man. Like,
thank you, bro.
Just learning from you has been truly inspirational. Remember to check us out on socials, Ghost Entertainment. Yeah, that's been us. Peace.